Welcome to my channel. I'm glad to have you here today. I have a few things that I want to talk to you about. First I have to stop this because it's driving me crazy. Before we get into the Bible, I set up this, or I announced this this live stream to begin at 1 a.m. UTC. And since I started it, I've been saying that, and I start broadcasting at 7 p.m. my time, which is not 1 a.m. UTC, it's 12 a.m. UTC. And so I delayed my start today for an hour just to make sure I did it at the time I told you. But in the future, excuse me, in the future I will be doing the live stream at 12 a.m. 12 a.m. UTC, not 1 a.m. Because it's much easier for me. I have time afterwards to get everything taken care of. So I apologize for the screw up. It's just one of those things. Secondly, I do have a problem with my lungs, which is not yet resolved, and so I have a difficulty sometimes coughing. I apologize for that. I hope you'll forgive me. I see your note there. My friend needs help. When I get done sharing with you, excuse me, when I get done sharing with what I want to share tonight, we can talk about that. And I also see that you just talked to Jesus, which is great. You should talk to him every day. Talk to God too. What I want to share with you tonight is a discovery that I made recently, and I think it shows you something about how rich and deep the Bible is. And so I'm gonna share a couple of verses with you. This first verse is 2 Timothy 2:15. Be diligent to present yourself approved to God as a workman who does not need to be ashamed, accurately handling the word of truth. That has been that's been my byword for decades. I do my best to handle the word of God honestly and faithfully and accurately, and I try not to distort it in any way. Okay? So and there's one other verse I want to share with you. Let me get that pulled up. Excuse me. Okay. Let's see. Just a second. It's Acts 17:11 if you're following along in your Bible. Okay. This is another verse that I have kept close to my heart, and so I want to share that with you as well. Now these were more noble-minded than those in Thessalonica, for they received the word, excuse me, for they received the word with great eagerness, examining the scriptures daily to see whether those things were so. This is what God wants us as Christians to do. He wants us to be studying the Word every day. He wants us to be not only just reading it, but studying it as well, looking at it carefully to see if we understand what it's saying and to follow its teachings. Okay? So there's one area in the Bible that I have struggled with for some time in my life because I didn't understand it. Okay? And right before we get to that, I'm going to share another verse with you that sets this up so that you understand what I'm talking about. It's 2 Corinthians 5:21. And of course, I'll put all these links in the excuse me. I'll put all these links in the description of the video as well, so you'll have them available. It says, he made him, referring to Jesus Christ, who knew no sin, to be sin on our behalf, so that we might become the righteousness of God in him. When Jesus Christ was crucified, when he hung on the cross, he became sin. And he became sin so that he could fulfill the penalty of sin, which is death, on our behalf. Okay? So, this is something that God planned before he even created the universe. And so, when I got to the record in Mark, which I'm going to share with you now, I really struggled to understand this. In Mark 15:34. Okay. So, Mark 15:34 reads, "At the 9th hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, 'Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani,' which is translated, 'My God, why have you forsaken me?'" Now, there's a couple of things about this verse that are interesting. The words Eloi, Eli, lama sabachthani are Aramaic. So that's what Jesus Christ cried out from the cross. Okay? And the writer, Mark, translates it for you so that you don't have to go get a translation. It means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Now, I was taught as a child that basically God forsook Jesus Christ when he was on the cross because he became sin, and God cannot bear to be in the presence of sin, and so he left him. Well, that always bugged me because I thought, if I as a father had a son who was suffering as horribly as Jesus Christ suffered, and if you read up on that, it's unbelievable what he went through. But if I had a son who suffered as horribly as Jesus Christ did, I guarantee you that I would not leave him in his hour of need. I would not walk away and say, "I can't deal with you." And I cannot imagine God would do that either. And so I really struggled with this verse. Then, I guess maybe 20, 25 years ago, I came across a teaching that said that this was mistranslated. And what the Aramaic really means is, my God, for this purpose was I spared." Well, I thought, well, that makes more sense because that's Jesus Christ realizing on the cross what his purpose was. But then I thought about it, and I thought, but wait a minute. He knew what he was going through. He knew he was going to be crucified. He knew that was the ultimate end goal of his life. And so why would he suddenly discover that on the cross? So again, I was just not completely satisfied with that answer. Well, a while ago, I use a Bible app on my phone, and I highly recommend this, especially if you're not a reader. I play in the mornings when I get up. I eat breakfast, and then I play the Bible while I do breathing treatments. And so I was listening to Psalms, and I came to Psalm 8:22, and I'm going to show that to you now. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the entire psalm. Okay, but we're gonna scroll down to verse 22 first. All right. So where is it? Okay. I thought I had the right psalm. I don't have the right psalm. What did I do? I'm thinking of something else entirely. No, it's Psalm 22. Sorry. Good Lord, Paul. Okay. Psalm 22. Sorry. Psalm 22, verse 6. Now you notice that the psalm starts out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Okay? That's how it begins. But down here in verse 6 it says, "But I am a worm and not a man." Now I'm going to read this whole thing to you, but the point is, this phrase, my God, why have you forsaken me?" is what Jesus Christ said when he was hanging on the cross. So I thought, Well, okay. Well, why is he quoting a psalm? Well, for one thing, in their culture, they didn't have a lot of books, and so people memorized the Bible. And the people that were there, not the Romans, of course, but the Jews that were there watching him on the cross would have known immediately when he said those words what he was referring to, Psalm 22. Okay? They would just, my God, why have you forsaken me? They would know that verse. They would know that entire psalm. And so that made sense to me. I said, okay, he's quoting a verse from Scripture, and he's reminding the people of what that psalm says. And the psalm is a messianic psalm, and we're going to read that in a minute. But first, I want to talk to you about this. Imagine that you have been beaten, as Isaiah says, beyond recognition. You've been flayed, you've been punched, you've been spit upon, you've been treated horribly. And then you've had your wrists and your ankles nailed through to a wooden cross. And the crucifixion was a horrible way to die, because what it did was it depressed everything on your diaphragm and made it really hard for you to breathe. So there's Jesus hanging there on the cross, suffering horribly. And what is he doing? He's sharing a verse of Scripture. He's teaching from the cross. That to me is amazing, that he had the presence of mind to think of a Bible verse, a chapter in the Bible, a psalm in the Bible, and remind the people that were watching him of that psalm. Okay? So now let's read the psalm and see what it says. My God, why have you forsaken me? Far from my deliverance are the words of my groaning. O my God, I cry day by day, but you do not answer, and by night, but I have no rest. Yet you are holy. You who are enthroned upon the praise, you who are enthroned upon the praises of Israel, in you our fathers trusted. They trusted you, and you delivered them. To you they cried out and were delivered. In you they trusted and were not disappointed. Now listen to this. But I am a worm and not a man, a reproach of men and despised by the people. All who see me sneer at me. They separate with the lip. They wag the head, saying, excuse me, commit yourself to the Lord. Let him deliver you. Let him rescue you, because he delights in you. Yet you are he who brought me forth from the womb. You made me trust when upon my mother's breasts. Upon you I was cast from birth. You have been my God from my mother's womb. Be not far from me, for trouble is near, for there is none to help. Many bulls have surrounded me. Song bowls of Bashan have encircled me. They open wide their mouth at me, as a ravening and roaring lion. I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax. It is melted within me. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaves to my jaws. And you lay me in the dust of death. For dogs have surrounded me. A band of evildoers have encompassed me. They pierce my hands and my feet. I can count all my bones. They look, they stare at me. They divide my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. Excuse me. But you, O Lord, be not far off. O you, my help, hasten to my assistance. Deliver my soul from this. Excuse me. Deliver my soul from the sword, my only life with the power of the dog. Save me from the lion's mouth. From the horns of the wild oxen you answer me. I will tell of your name to my brethren. In the midst of the assembly I will praise you. You who fear the Lord, praise him. All you descendants of Jacob, glorify him, and stand in awe of him, all you descendants of Israel. For he has not despised nor abhorred the affliction of the afflicted, nor has he hidden his face from him. But when he cried to him for help, he heard. Think about this. Jesus Christ is hanging on the cross, suffering horribly, more horribly than you can possibly imagine. And yet, he has the presence of mind to think of this psalm that tells, and this psalm was written by David almost 1,000 years before Jesus Christ hung on that cross. And it tells of the exact story of his suffering. And he thinks of it, and he says the opening line, which reminds all of the Jews in the audience of that psalm. Imagine that. I mean, that is, I can't even express how profound that is. That is mind-boggling to me, that even on the cross, he was still a rabbi. He was still teaching. He was still pointing his followers to God and to the Word. That's unbelievable. And if that isn't unbelievable enough, let me share this one verse with you, because this is mind-boggling. I just learned this the other day, and I'm still awestruck by it. Verse 6, "But I am a worm and not a man, a reproach of men and despised by the people." I am a worm, he says. Well, what do you think of when you think of a worm? I think of earthworms. I've fished with them, and that's what I think of. Earthworms, that's what comes to mind. Okay? But guess what? That's not what this word is. In the Hebrew, the word for worm is tôlaʔat. T-O-L-A-A-T, tôlaʔat. And what it means is worm or maggot. That's the literal meaning of it. But in ancient Hebrew, it often referred specifically to the crimson worm, Coccus ilicis, a small insect that lives on oak trees in the Middle East. Okay? So his followers would know that because they're Jews. They learn this all their lives. They're taught the Bible from childhood. And they know the meanings of these words. They know what it means when it says tôlaʔat. It's not just an earthworm. It's a specific type of worm. And listen to what this worm does. Excuse me. Remember, this is Jesus Christ hanging on the cross. The crimson worm was crushed to produce a deep red scarlet dye used in the tabernacle, priestly garments, and other sacred items. When the female worm was crushed, it released a brilliant red fluid that was used to color cloth. In the context of Psalm 22, the phrase, "I am a worm," is not just saying, "I am worthless." It is a powerful picture of voluntary sacrifice. Jesus is identifying himself as the one who is crushed so that his blood can bring cleansing and beauty, just as the worm was crushed to produce the scarlet dye used in the service of God. But that's not all. That's not all. Amazing. Think about that. That's enough right there, but that's not all. The crimson worm produces its young in a remarkable sacrificial way. Remember, you and I are the young of Jesus Christ. We were born with him inside of us because of his sacrifice. The female crimson worm attaches herself permanently to the branch of a tree, usually a species of oak. She lays her eggs underneath her own body. After laying the eggs, she dies. Her body then hardens into a protective, waxy shell that covers and shields the eggs. When the larvae hatch, they feed on the fluids of the mother's dead body for several days until they are strong enough to break through the shell and crawl away. The mother literally gives her life and body as food. Take this, drink this blood in remembrance of me. Eat this bread as my flesh. The mother literally gives her life and body as food and protection so her young can survive and mature. When the mother is crushed to extract the red dye, it is at the moment she is giving everything for her offspring. That's... I'm gobsmacked. My mind is boggled. I cannot believe this. This is just so incredible that all of that information is wrapped up in that one little word. And the people that heard him say that, my God, why have you forsaken me, would have known instantly that he was referring to that prayer, and they would, or that psalm, and they would have thought of that crimson worm and what he was doing when he's dying on the cross. You see, when we read the Bible, a lot of times we read it very superficially. We read it, those of us in the West, we read it with a Western frame of mind, and we don't think about what it would have meant to someone in the first century. But if you start reading the Bible and ask yourself, what would a first century Jew think of when this was said? It opens up huge vistas of understanding and huge vistas of revelation to you from the Word. It's amazing. It's absolutely wow. It's I can't even express how amazing it is. I wanted to share this with you because it just really touched my heart, and I felt like it would be something that would bless you as well. And so that's what I did. Now I have to get up for just a second because I forgot to bring my magnifying glass, and I need that to read the chat. So I'll be right back. Sorry for that. Excuse me. I usually try to stay more organized, but since I took 2 weeks off because of my lung problem, I'm just kind of out of shape, if you will, for doing this. And so let me scroll back up here at the top and see what we got going on in the chat today. And do let me know in the comments what you thought of what I just shared. Okay, so Android Hello 408 says, my friend needs help. I think you shared this with me last time too. And Tenny Ken says, I just talked to Jesus in January. Okay. Rat Fishing, thank you very much. He says, I love your videos. I'm starting to have this calling to not be more religious, but understand the Bible and the faith I have means. Yeah, see, I think far too many Christians think that to be a Christian, you have to go to church. And that's such a tiny part of it. Yes, you're supposed to fellowship with like-minded believers, but you're supposed to have in your own life time set aside every day to listen to the Word, to read the Word, to study the Word, to learn from it and become closer to God and closer to the person that He's called you to be. And so it's very encouraging to read you say that. And I hope that you will follow up on it. Completely fell into my lap is a sign that I should have faith and indulge in it. I think that's the second half, right? You know what? Let's see. What? I guess I can't do anything with this chat. Okay. Oh well. I thought maybe I could. Okay. Thought maybe I could do something here, but I don't see that I can. Okay. Okay, what's going on now? Stop. What the heck? All right, I'm having a problem. Jeez. Okay, I can't even get the chat to scroll now, so I can't. Golly days, what did I do? Okay, let me close it and reopen it. Let's see. What do I want? Docs, YouTube chat. Okay. There we go. Okay. Android Hello 408, I think you're just trolling me, so I'm not going to respond to you. Now I've lost it again. This is ridiculous. What is going on here? I tell you, this new technology is not easy for an old person. We already. What's that mean? We are actually still use cochineal today. Oh wait, Bible's talking about a different species. Oh yeah, okay. Still the same kind of thing. PR 2343-H5Q, thank you for coming. I loved it. I only got the end of the message, but you taught me something new today. Thanks, I had no clue about the crimson worm. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Excuse me. Since you can hear me coughing, I'll explain what's going on. I have I've been diagnosed with a lung disease called IPF, which stands for idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. But a recent CT scan says maybe that's not what's wrong with me. Maybe I have something else. And because of that, I may have to get my medications changed. And it may actually be the medications that are causing me to cough like this. So I'm hoping I can get that straightened out with the doctor real soon. I've asked for excuse me. I've asked for a telehealth appointment next week. Yes, I am very close to 100,000. I have to be honest with you, and don't take this the wrong way. It really doesn't mean that much to me. I don't monetize my channel, and I don't really, I love every person that comes to my channel, but I don't really pay attention to statistics like that because they don't really matter to me. I don't care. If I have 100,000 or 100, I'd still be doing the same thing. And actually, I thought that's what I would have, would be about 100 people come to my channel. So I'm shocked to see the number that I have now, which is, like you say, it's very close to 100,000. And yeah, they're going to send me a plaque, and I'll show it to you when I get it. But that isn't why I do this at all. I do this because I love music and because I love God, and I want to share that with people. And so that's the reason why I do it. What about Kanye? Rat Fishing asks about Kanye. Does anyone have any questions about what I shared with you tonight? What's my favorite Kanye song? Your channel is a very big part of my day. Thank you. Hopefully I can make the Rumble stream. Yeah, I hope you can too, because it's a lot of fun and it's crazy. It really is crazy. I don't know. I think maybe Ghost Town. I'm not sure. I'd have to sit and think about it. But Ghost Town was one that I really liked. I just think Kanye is so talented, and he's such an impressive. What's my favorite song? I have a lot of them, really, but I think probably the 23rd Psalm, because it takes me back to my childhood, because that was one that I memorized very early on. And I when I was a child, I used to live in a house, a 2-story house, and the bedroom that I lived in with my 2 brothers was a corner bedroom, so there was a window on the north side and on the east side, and we lived on a corner lot, and there were trees all around the house, and there was a light pole, electric pole with a light on it right out there. So whenever the wind would blow, the trees would sway, and they would make images on the windows, on the curtains. Excuse me. And that would frighten me. And so I would close my eyes and fold my hands and pray the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The whole thing. Just to calm myself down, because I was frightened. And so it's kind of interesting. I mean, there's a number of Psalms that I really like. Psalm 82 is one. I can show that to you here. One of the things that I've been getting into lately is it's oh, I lost my, there we go. I'm back. This is the 82nd Psalm. I won't read it to you. You can read it yourself. But I've been realizing a lot more these days how much of the Old Testament is actually prophecy, or a pointer, if you will, toward Christ. It's amazing to me. I mean, just if you think about the opening of the Bible, God said to the woman about her child that Satan would bruise his heel and he would bruise Satan's head. And I was thinking about that the other day. When Jesus Christ was nailed to the cross, those nails went through his ankles right above his heels. So it's just amazing. I mean, to me, the whole Bible and everything about it was set up for and designed to tell us about Jesus Christ. No, I've not listened to his album. Let's see. Actually, I do have one. My question is I'm going to try to get back into reading the Bible more. I have read Genesis and random stuff for years since I was a kid. Okay. I don't know if you're a reader or not, but if you don't, if you get bored reading, or you can't read for long periods of time without getting sleepy, I would highly recommend getting an app that reads the Bible to you, because you can read along with it, but with the voice, excuse me, it helps you concentrate and focus on what's being said. And I tell you what I do now is when I'm listening to the Bible, if I hear something that catches my attention, I'll just stop right then and start researching it immediately, because I learn a lot more that way. It's been months, but where should I resume tonight? Well, if it's been months, I think I would start with the New Testament, because the New Testament applies to us today. And when I say New Testament, I'm referring to Acts and on. The Gospels are about Jesus Christ, but Acts and the rest of the epistles are all about the Christian church. Okay? So, if you get a good grounding in those books, in Paul's epistles and Hebrews and James and John and that stuff, I think that will help you center your faith. And then when you get going with that and you enjoy it and you start getting into it, then I start tying in some of the Old Testament stuff. I use my Bible app to just read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. And then when, excuse me, when I get to Revelation, I just go back to Genesis and start over. But now I'm thinking I want to do a more focused thing where, for example, I'd really like to get into Isaiah heavily, because Isaiah has so much prophecy in it. It's amazing. And so I must start doing that more rather than just reading it through over and over again. I learned it young too. Yeah. I fully have faith in the Lord. I have my whole life. But I feel my relationship is strained with Him, seeing other people suffer now. No, it's not His fault, but I just feel uneasy about it. Well, excuse me. This is something a lot of Christians struggle with. Why do people suffer? And I think you have to understand how the world is set up. Because when God created Adam and Eve, He set up a perfect world. And then Adam and Eve disobeyed and brought sin upon all mankind. That's kind of a nebulous concept, so let me make it more clear. When God created Adam, He formed his body from the dust, He breathed life into him, and He made him in God's image. That's a three-part being, okay? Body, soul, and spirit. When Adam sinned, God said, "The day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die." Well, Adam lived to be 932 years old. So he didn't die that day. So what died? It was the spirit. God took his spirit away because he sinned. And because of that, every man who is born from that day forward up to today and forevermore until Christ returns, excuse me, is born with only body and soul. The Bible calls it a natural man. You don't understand? Excuse me. You don't understand the things of the Spirit. They're foolishness because you don't have a spirit to explain them to you. When you get born again, what happens is God puts his Spirit inside you. Now you have communion with God again, and you can talk to him, and he will talk to you. And so the reason the world is full of suffering is because so many people are just wandering around aimlessly because they don't have Spirit. They don't know what's going on. They don't understand. And then you have the devil who comes in and plants ideas in people's minds, and some people listen to them, and then they just go out and they don't care about how they affect other human beings. And they'll do anything to please themselves without worrying about what it's costing someone else. And that's why the world is full of evil. It's because the devil is here and human beings are without Spirit unless they're born again. And so they like I say, they're wandering aimlessly. They don't really understand life. I mean, it's really that simple. Rapture soon, but let's hope so. Fingers crossed. My goal, my personal goal in life, is to live to be 120, because I believe if I live that long, I will live until the rapture. Because I don't think it's going to be longer than that. Could be a lot sooner than that. I think the signs are there telling us that it's approaching. Of course, Jesus Christ said no man knows the hour, not even the Son, only the Father. But so we don't know when it's going to be, but we know from just looking at what's going on in the world and the signs that we're seeing and the prophecies that are being fulfilled, that it's probably not going to be very long. You know, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week, it could be 5 years from now. I don't think it'll be more than 40 years from now, which is why I set my goal to be 120. Let's see, I'm going to try to continue to read my Bible and pray because I want to follow, but it's a rough road. Yeah, it takes discipline, you know? It takes discipline. You have to... I have a routine that I do. I get up in the morning. The first thing I do is eat, because I can't take my vitamins without eating or I get sick to my stomach. So I eat first, then I take my vitamins, then I do my breathing treatment, and I listen to the Bible. But I don't do that every day, because some days we have doctor's appointments and other obligations that we have to take care of, and so I don't have time to do that. And then, you know, I get into my day and I kind of forget to do it. And so you just have to be willing to forgive yourself the way God has forgiven you and say, I screwed up, I didn't do it today, but I'm going to do it tomorrow, and start building the habit of doing it. And if you build the habit of doing it, it will become something that you will miss when you don't do it. And that will help you stay into it, you know. And then I would say, look for good pastors online that you can watch on YouTube, because there are some really good ones. Jonathan Cahn is one. Another one is Josh Howerton from Lake Point Church in Dallas. He's fantastic. These are Bible-believing preachers. Philip Anthony Mitchell is another one in Atlanta, Georgia. These are Bible-believing preachers who will keep you straight. Philip Anthony Mitchell spent almost 3 years teaching the book of Matthew, and I'm working my way through that. I've gotten up to chapter 8. Each one of the sermons is about an hour long, or a little bit more than an hour. But I tell you what, you will become inspired if you do that. You will really be inspired, because he is a fantastic teacher. He has a tremendous, wonderful heart for God, and he doesn't take any prisoners. He lets it fly. I mean, he is critical of the modern day church, because it's not following God. It's not following the Bible. I mean, we've got churches that are just way, way, way out in left field, and not at all biblical in their approach to the scriptures. And so he doesn't pull any punches, and he will, his teachings will will make you stop and think about the life you're living and ask yourself, am I really doing all I can for God? Am I really doing the best that I can for what He's called me to do? Because he like I say, He doesn't pull any punches. He lets you have it straight. And I love that about Him. I think he's probably one of the best preachers there is. And there's another one, I can't think of his name right now, who's in Atlanta, who's really good too. I've got stuff. I got to head out. Thank you for your advice and your channel. I'm going to try my best to be there 3 p.m. UTC, but it's, Australian time. Well, I have another Aussie who always comes on Sunday, and he has to drink a Red Bull to stay awake. So I understand if you can't make it. It's okay. You can always watch them later. But thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate it. I don't know what time it is in Australia. Must be early morning there now, huh? Like, I think maybe, yeah, sometime in the morning of tomorrow. You're in tomorrow and I'm in today. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. And thank everyone for coming. I really do appreciate all of you coming. If there are no other questions, I'm going to close it out. 11:46 a.m. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, you're almost at lunchtime. Yeah. Okay. Well, 3 p.m. UTC is not lunchtime. It's late at night. So if you can't make it, it's okay. I understand. But, if you can come at least once, put a request in the chat and I'll react to it. And if no one has any other questions or comments or anything, I'm going to close this out for the day. I want to pray that God watches over each one of you and keeps you healthy and safe and strong and vital, and that He fills your life with joy and with peace. And so until Sunday, when I do my live stream, this is the Vietnam Era Vet signing off.